1. This happened several years ago, maybe 2012 or 13, a year after I graduated high school and just started my first semester of college. I only worked there for about 6 months before being accused of stealing and fired. I hadn't stole whatever they claim I stole, and I didn't give them the reaction they were looking for, because I was planning on leaving once I got my 6 months. This story happened 4 months into my employment at Sun Foods, and I worked an all-day shift, because I only work on days where I don't have classes. So the manager made me work opening to close, and that day was very, very busy. It didn't help that the supervisor and managers were literally harshing on everyone to check out our customers as quick as possible. Like we weren't going as fast as we could already, and here is management rushing us even more. I'm in the middle of ringing up a customer, and I had a stack of baskets sitting behind me. The supervisor who was grabbing them from behind us and bringing them back to the front for customer use. Then, as he was grabbing the stack behind me, he brings it up to just my head level. He's probably 6 foot tall, whacks me on the side of the head, and I let out an audible "ow!" before giving him a "hey, you just hit me with the basket" look. He just laughs about it and casually says, "Sorry, didn't see you there." Yeah, sure, totally didn't see me standing at my register all morning long, and I just happened to appear there as you swung the basket by. Then, less than 30 minutes later, I was finishing up ringing up a customer and opened my drawer to give her change. The drawer was quite heavy and was slammed shut with the slightest push or bump. I must have brushed against the drawer while handing over the change, and it slammed into my finger that was next to the register. I remember jumping back out of my station and grabbing at my right hand, aka my good hand. Thinking back, I remember my finger had turned purple and blue from the force of the drawer closing on it. All the customers around me turned to see if I was okay, and even called the manager over to get me some ice. Manager comes over and takes a peek at my hand, only to say, "Oh, it's fine." I was livid, and asked if I could get some ice to put on it. The manager responded by saying, "Honestly, doesn't look too bad." Doesn't look too bad, my ass. 5 minutes later, my finger was swollen and turning red. Not to mention, it was so painful that I avoided using that hand unless needed. But since it's my dominant hand, I struggled to keep from accidentally applying too much pressure on the jammed finger. 10 minutes later, the base of my finger has started turning blue, with slight hints of purple, and the throbbing was getting worse to the point where I couldn't move a nerve in my right hand without searing pain shooting through it. I turned to the closest manager walking by and said, holding my hand up, "Still looks not too bad." After they took a glimpse at my hand, they finally got me a bag of ice and sent me right back to work. Then 2 months later, I got laid off. Then about a year later, they got new management, but kept some of the old workers. Don't worry, my finger is fine, but sensitive when too much pressure applied to it or near heated things. 2. I was stationed at a checkout when I hear a tapping of a cane on the floor to turn, and see this elderly man, our angry customer, walking in and directly approaching me a bit aggressively before demanding that I find a type of screw for him. I apologize and tell him that it's not in my department, but I'll call for Darcy from hardware to help him find it. He accepts it and shuffles away to look at the power drills, while I try to contact Darcy via his store department phone. "Darcy in hardware speaking. It's Dragon Crystal. I've got a customer up at checkout who's asking for a type of screw and asking for an associate to help him. I'm just finishing my break, so it'll take me a minute to get up there." He's elderly himself and uses a cart to get around the store. I relay this back to the angry customer. He just lets out an annoyed sigh, but nods and takes a seat in the open space on one of the display shelves. I kept an eye on him just in case it tipped over. Luckily it didn't. Not 2 minutes after he sat down, he starts complaining that it's taking too long and he just wants his screws, to which I apologize and told him Darcy is on his way back from his break and is coming as quickly as he can. He lets out an extra annoyed groan and waves me away. Of course, I'm the only cashier at checkout, so I'm not too far and keep a lookout for Darcy until I do see him approaching us. He was about to reach us when two women stopped him to ask about the plumbing, because they'd mistaken him for the plumbing associate. As Darcy was offering to call plumbing to help out the ladies, the angry customer happened to look up and asks angrily,
"Is that the guy who's supposed to be helping me?"
Before just getting up and shuffling his way over to Darcy, yelling loudly,
Hey! I was here first. You're supposed to be helping me, not them."
Darcy calmly assures the angry customer he's just going to make a quick call and that he'll be right with him. Instead, the angry customer gets up, all in Darcy's face, and starts yelling at him. I become nervous in case it escalates and go to call for a manager because the angry customer was now waving his cane around and pointing it at the ladies, who have now backed up to keep from getting hit by his cane.
"I was here first. I had you called up here so you can help me, not so you can just talk with these women and ignore me. I've been waiting for an hour for you to get up here."
It's at most just 5 minutes. Darcy was trying to stay calm himself, but had to raise his voice to be heard over the angry customers yelling.
"I said to wait a moment and I'll be right with you. I just have to make a quick phone call."
Luckily, Maddie from ProDesk ended up running over and breaking up the fight, but the angry customer ended up yelling at her for a bit. Luckily, she remained calm and helped him go find the screw he was looking for, while Darcy ended up helping the ladies instead to keep things from getting worse. Maddie finishes helping the angry customer, and he walks over to check out, where I'm still shaken, but in my professional tone, I help to check out his things, and as I'm going to give him his total, he stops me and says,
"I want 90% off my items."
"I'm sorry?"
"I said I want 90% off my items."
"I'm sorry, but 10% is the most I can do." He's now glaring at me.
"Will someone with higher authority give me the frickin' manager then? Heck, the store owner even."
I quickly go and ask for any available MOD to come and check out to assist the customer. Jamie happened to come, and the angry customer immediately asks, in his still rude tone,
"Are you the manager or store owner?"
Jamie says calmly, "No, I'm not the owner, but I am a manager. How may I help you?" I had moved far away, not to make the angry customer any angrier, but I could still hear him saying,
"That worker of yours was very, very disrespectful to me, and I want them fired."
"Which associate are you talking about?"
"Him, that's who,"
pointing at Darcy.
"He needs to show me some respect. I've been waiting for an hour on him, and he helped them instead. I walked up to him to tell him that he was supposed to help me first, but instead he started yelling at me. I want compensation for the rude treatment."
Darcy clearly hears the angry customer, and was also glaring at him angrily, but still staying professional and continuing to assist the ladies. I've since turned my focus to the gift cards and sorting the snacks on the shelves. "Okay, sir, I'm sorry that you were given poor treatment. What would you like as compensation?"
"I would like 90% off all my items."
He only had 3 items, including his screws. "Okay, 90% off all your items. I can easily do this, and here's my personal number. If it's not the screw you need, just give me a call, and I'll personally make you get the correct items you need. Have a good day." The angry customer just snatches all his items and, before giving Darcy one last death glare, shuffles out of the building. Now, maybe it's just me, but I don't think he should have just made a fuss over having to wait a few extra minutes. Then again, he might have had a bad day before entering the store, and being forced to wait was the last straw that broke the camel's back. Again, who knows? But to demand 90% off all the items seems a bit much, and yelling at all of us. Especially the ladies, and then me for not being able to give him the 90% off, seems a bit extreme. The fact that Jamie actually gave it to him, as well as allowing him to get an exchange free of charge, was a bit overboard in my opinion. Because right after he walked out, and I was about to say that he hadn't been waiting for an hour, nor did Darcy yell at him, or say anything disrespectful, only for Jamie to say, "Get back to checkout," which I hadn't moved an inch away from. Jamie pulled Darcy away and spoke to him before calling me back to his office and telling me I handled the situation all wrong, as well as not stepping in to stop the yelling from disrupting the peace of the other shoppers. There wasn't even any other shoppers in the store, and how could I have stepped in? I'm a cashier, not security. I don't know how security didn't step in to stop the yelling. Maddie did, and she's the pro desk associate. Jamie gave me and Darcy a write-up for the poor performance towards the customer, and was given online training on how to handle rowdy customers. Maddie was fine, but when she found out about me and Darcy, she wasn't happy and explained to Jamie, including telling him to check the cameras to see who started the argument. But Jamie ignored her and reported it as me and Darcy not handling things professional and letting things get out of hand. Store manager wasn't any better herself, just nodded when told what happened and turned to walk away. So who's truly in the wrong? Darcy and me, or the angry customer for overreacting? You can decide, because I already made my judgment. 3. Ah, yes, last-minute shoppers who come in during the last 15 minutes before closing time, and believe that we'll stay open just for them. No, sir, we have a set time, and because we all want to go home after dealing with so many people all day. And we need sleep too. Just come back the following day, not request that we stay open an extra hour just for you. I was working closing shift and dealt with a lot of entitled and rude customers most of my shift. I just wanted to close down my register and go home to sleep. As soon as I heard our head cashier say the usual 15 minutes warning about closing, I felt relieved, because I just wanted to go home and sleep off the stress, since I knew I had the next few days off due to classes. And then Chad walks in.
Hey, where can I find garden shed?
I point out where he can find them, and he walks off to go look at them. I pray he will make it quick, or at least check out with the other cashier at checkout. After 15 minutes, the head cashier walks over and tells me to close my register and move to checkout. But I'm scheduled to leave at 11 p.m. I know, but Karen has to leave and I need you to cover for her, so I can pull the cash from the registers. You'd think that pulling cash would be management's duty, 'cause they have the vault key, you'd think. Not the part-timer cashier. But I ended up moving over to the checkout, while Karen walks away pushing the coffee kettle, smirking at me. I immediately knew she had lied about needing to leave early, so she wouldn't have to wait on head cashier to pull the cash. This wasn't the first time she did this, and always pulled this BS. But nobody, not even Sally, tells her not to do this. Instead, they let her do it constantly with no remorse, and she would always smirk at whoever has to cover for her. I knew she wasn't going to clean out the kettles whenever I'm working opening shift during the weekend, and found full kettles of stale coffee from the night before, since someone didn't bother cleaning out the kettles like they were supposed to before leaving. So, I had to clean them before refilling them with fresh coffee, and also, who wants to drink day-old stale coffee? 5 minutes later, I see Karen hurrying out the front door as I'm waiting for the last staggering customers, including Chad, to finish checking out so I can leave. As I'm helping out whoever needed help, Chad then asks,
Will I get help loading the shed onto my car?
Yes, I can get you assistance to load the shed as you pull up your car. I wasn't able to hear more because another customer called me over to assist them with a problem they were having with scanning. I guess Chad must have flagged her over and Sally was answering his question instead. Since I heard Chad say,
Okay, I'll be back in an hour. I have to go get my truck.
As soon as I finished helping the customer, Sally immediately gave me the go clock out motion, which I happily accepted and grabbed my thermo to head to the back. My guess about Karen not cleaning out the kettles was also correct, so I quickly rinsed them out and placed them back into the cart, where they would be wheeled out, clocked out and grabbed my stuff from my locker and walked out. Sally and the managers were already heading to go back as I reached the front door to leave the store. I'm assuming Chad did come back an hour later and just waited at the locked door, wondering if anyone was going to open and let him get his shed. Hopefully, management told the overnight crew to hide or stay out of sight if he was looking for someone to let him in. As for Karen, she wasn't around much afterwards. She claimed our cashier position was below her, and left. Good grief, because every other cashier who worked with her always complained about how she never does anything, and is always on her phone instead of working. 4. Rant time. This happened today. For some context, I was doing a return, but the system updated, so I had to call and wait for my manager to come up, because the return button just wasn't there. She comes up and I offer everyone else in line to move to the next register, because this will probably take a minute. My manager just had me run on hers while she figured out how to do a return with the new system. Well, the main character of the story, the next lady in line, declined because, "I just put all this shit down, I'm not moving it." So I take the next person in line and run on my managers for maybe 5 minutes while she got the return working. By then, I finished the short line, so I go back to my register and my manager goes back to her cleaning up. The first thing she says to me is, "Why are you back?" and called me annoying. I don't do well with insults, to be honest, so I was trying to keep my cool. I finish scanning, tell her the total. She runs EBT and has a bit left on the bill. "Why is it that much?" I tell her that EBT won't take off. "Well, why'd you ring it all up? I told you, food only." She starts going through the bags, pulling out all the products it didn't take off, all while going off on me for not listening, and even claims she came in with one of the cleaning products. Why did she bring it in with her? Why did she put it on the belt? So I call my manager back. At this point, I'm starting to tear up because she was straight up yelling at me saying, I told you! Like, no ma'am, you said I was annoying. Maybe she said it after that, but I was so caught up in the insult it didn't register in my head. But I also heard her talking about how bad of a worker I am the whole time I was scanning too. Manager comes up, I take the line to her register, while the customer is still yelling about me to my manager, saying I go too fast, scan too fast. That's a good thing to everyone else, and wouldn't listen to her. I heard everything but scan only the food. I don't know how it is at other stores, but after you pay part of the bill, we can't go back and remove things. So my manager is trying to tell her that we need to do a return and re-ring her up. The lady kept going on about, why do I need to do anything when your cashier messed up? At this point, every other word is a swear, and my manager tells her to grab her stuff and get out or she's calling the cops. She finally left after a whole 15 minutes of yelling. They say no one wants to work, but I love my job normally. But after days like today, I'm debating quitting. The only thing that keeps me working retail is the fact that my managers actually stand up for me. It's just mind-boggling how some people act and just expect you to let them. 5. I'm so sick of my store manager. He has no respect for anyone who works with him. And I say with him, I mean even the management around him. Naturally, as beneath him are scum in his eyes. I've never seen someone so arrogant and stuck up. Then be a total dumbass. He doesn't know any of our company policies, knows nothing about our products, and just walks around with his hands behind his back all day with a confused look on his face. He thinks he looks wise or insightful, but he just looks like an asshole with dementia. He's been reported to our HR and DM multiple times for sipping his dip in the trash bins in the store. I'm from the south, and yes, a lot of men dip, in a bottle, with a cap. Not this jackass. He likes to spit his dips straight into the bin. It doesn't matter if he missed a little and gets it on the side. It doesn't matter if there isn't a liner in the bin either. He's gonna spit in it. It's not like HR and the DM didn't tell him to stop. His dumbass left his email open, and we saw they emailed him about the issue. He just won't stop, despite multiple pictures taken and sent to HR. He was at one point taking the half-empty bottles people forgot laying around the store and filling our coffee maker up with them. That he got put on a final for, I think, and actually stopped. But who in their right mind would even do that in the first place? Who sees a half-empty bottle of water sitting around and thinks, I'm gonna add that to the coffee maker? Our HR is out of California, and they sent the main HR manager down to pull us all into the office one by one to question us about him. We all let loose. We told that manager every little bitty thing we could. Nothing was done about him. Not that any of us are aware of, but ever since that happened, he's been hounding us to tell him what it was about. But because we have respected what the HR manager asked of us, and to not talk about what we discussed with them, now the store manager is trying to write us up over petty things that he's guilty of. Today I rejected my write-up and refused to acknowledge it. Why? Because it was over me telling him what a customer said to me. But because I said it over the radio, he says that's a violation. I have heard him call a customer a jackass over the radio. So why am I getting written up for reporting to management what a customer said to me? Today I lost it. He got up in my face, made a face at me like I was an idiot and mocked me. So I did it back to him, and he just got wide-eyed. I said, "Yeah, I can do it right back." I looked at my other manager and said, "I'm sorry if this reflects badly on you, but I'm not going to get written up over something he does all the time and did all day today." I get he is probably freaking out because of whatever trouble he's in with corporate, but that doesn't mean he can ruin our work lives over it. Everyone in my job gets along. My other managers can discipline without being an arrogant asshole about it. When they ask us to do a task, they don't stick their head up and look down at you when doing so. I love my job, and it sucks that I hate going to work now. I've recently started looking for another job because of him. I never wanted to leave the company. I actually like the company itself, but I don't know how I can stay somewhere that would hire a person like that to represent our store. The district hates us because of him. We used to get like 4 to 6 people to help us on inventory every year. Since he has become manager, only 2 people have volunteered to help us on inventory in the past 3 years. That's only because another store manager agreed to, and the team lead wanting to be promoted to supervisor at their store. Even associates that used to be at our store and live near refused to come help out during inventory. I hope something is done about him soon. The DM is coming tomorrow, again, because there is no telling what he's done this time. The DM doesn't visit any other store as much as he does ours. I remember our old manager never got a visit, maybe once a year. Our DM comes every 3 months now. It doesn't matter how good sales are or how good our numbers per associate looks. He comes all the time to babysit the store manager and has to remind him what his job is. I really do think he's showing early stages of dementia or something. He will ask you to do a task and then get mad at you for doing it. He forgets what he tells people to do. He then jumps all over them for doing it. He will tell customers we don't have something and could be standing right next to the product. Thanks for making it through my rant. Today was a rough day with that asshole. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, episode 173. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do poke the like button, and if you'd like to get the videos a little bit early, you can support me through Patreon for as little or as much as you'd like. The link for that is in the description. It's also on the screen. You can also get yourself some Hellfreezer merchandise, also linked in the description, and you can make donations during streams and now even during videos like this one, if you wish to do so. None of this is required to keep enjoying the videos, but it is very much appreciated. Oh, there's also a Discord if you'd like to join that, just for fun. Alright, let's see. No other business today, so let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is: if you could have a robot replace you doing your job, and you got paid like 50% of what you currently do, would you want to do it? I wouldn't, because I actually enjoy my job. And bear in mind, I'm probably a lot closer than some of you are to actually having a robot be capable of doing my job, which is both intriguing and a little bit horrifying. But it's something I'm interested in. AI is a hobby for me, kind of keeping my eye on what's going on. But no, I don't think I would. But you may feel differently. Maybe you've got a job that you'd really like to get out of or do a lot less of. So let me know what you think in a comment below. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.